According to the American Heart Association, someone suffers a stroke every 40 seconds, and this rate increases significantly after the age of 60. What troubles me most after more than 20 years as a brain specialist is this: many older adults suffer strokes while sleeping without any warning signs. No headache, no dizziness, no weakness. It is only the next morning that they find themselves unable to name a loved one. Their limbs move more slowly, or they suddenly lose balance. And what is even more alarming is that the cause does not come from the things we usually think are harmful, but rather from a familiar vegetable in the kitchen. It seems harmless, yet when eaten the wrong way, it can directly affect blood flow to the brain. I am not sharing this to scare you, but to help you better understand your body after the age of 60, because what was considered healthy at 40 can quietly become a hidden risk by the time you reach 70. In today's video, I will share 6 common vegetables that may silently increase the risk of stroke if eaten at the wrong time or combined incorrectly with medication. Please watch until the end of the video, because timely understanding can protect your memory, your mobility, and your daily independence. Vegetables number 1, celery. To many people, celery is seen as a cooling vegetable that supports digestion and helps with blood pressure. But for those over the age of 60, celery can become a silent factor in lowering blood pressure too much if consumed at the wrong time or combined inappropriately with medication, especially in the evening, when the body enters a resting state. A light bowl of celery soup may unexpectedly cause a sharp drop in blood pressure, leading to reduced blood flow to the brain during sleep. The reason lies in apigenin and potassium, 2 active compounds found abundantly in celery. According to the USDA, every 100 grams of fresh celery contains about 260 milligrams of potassium, which is nearly 10% of the daily requirement. Potassium helps the body eliminate excess sodium, which relaxes the blood vessels and lowers blood pressure. For younger individuals, this is a benefit. But for older adults taking antihypertensive drugs or diuretics, celery can cause a drop in blood pressure faster than the body can manage. As a result, the blood thickens, flow slows down, and the risk of tiny blood clots forming in the brain's small vessels increases. The story of Mr. George Lanston, age 78, from the state of Texas, is a typical example. A fan of natural foods, he ate celery soup with carrots every evening. He was also taking beta blockers to control his blood pressure. One morning, after waking up, he felt dizzy, unsteady, and slightly confused. His family rushed him to the hospital. A brain scan revealed signs of small microthrombi in the vestibular area, which caused temporary imbalance and confusion. Doctors identified the main cause as a drop in blood pressure during the night, which temporarily deprived the brain of oxygen. After reviewing his diet, the evening celery soup was singled out by the doctors as a factor that needed to be adjusted. According to an article by Harvard Health Publishing, older adults consuming potassium-rich foods should be especially cautious if they are taking blood pressure medication, diuretics, or have existing heart conditions. Since the body no longer regulates blood pressure as effectively as before, eating celery in the evening may cause blood pressure to fall too low without noticeable symptoms. This does not mean you need to remove celery from your diet entirely. On the contrary, if used at the right time, celery remains a nourishing vegetable. It is best to eat celery at lunch or in the morning, when the body is still alert enough to respond, and to avoid it in the evening, especially if you are taking blood pressure medications. Vegetables number 2, bitter melon. Among the most commonly recommended healing vegetables, bitter melon is often praised as a natural remedy for lowering blood sugar. Many older adults believe that eating bitter melon regularly, especially in the evening, helps stabilize blood sugar and prevent diabetic complications. But the concerning truth is that for people over the age of 60, bitter melon may silently cause blood sugar to drop too low at night, leading to thicker blood and increasing the risk of tiny clots forming in the brain. According to research published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, bitter melon contains two key compounds, polypeptide P and vicine, which mimic insulin and help the body use glucose more efficiently. However, if you already show signs of prediabetes or are taking medication to manage blood sugar, eating bitter melon at dinner may cause blood sugar to drop quickly without you noticing. And when blood sugar falls too low during sleep, the body responds by releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These substances constrict the blood vessels, causing a sudden spike in blood pressure. And if the vessel walls have already aged, the risk of stroke becomes much higher. The case of Miss Leah Henderson, age 76, who lives in Florida, is a clear example. Living a healthy lifestyle, she had completely cut out refined sugar and replaced it with boiled vegetables like bitter melon, which she ate each night before bed. At first, she felt lighter and slept better, but after a few months, she often woke up in the middle of the night feeling anxious, with cold sweats and slight dizziness the next morning. One day, she could not remember how to make coffee, something she had done for over 40 years. After being taken to the hospital for examination, doctors diagnosed her with a mild ischemic event in the brain's short-term memory area. Tests showed a sharp drop in blood sugar around midnight, along with a strong vascular constriction response. All of this was traced back to eating bitter melon late in the evening, when her body's ability to self-regulate had already declined. I am not saying that bitter melon is harmful, but once the body has passed age 60, its responses become slower, and what used to be considered healthy may turn into a risk if consumed at the wrong time. If you enjoy this vegetable, try eating it at lunchtime, along with rice or protein to slow its absorption, and absolutely avoid eating raw bitter melon, especially before bedtime. Vegetables number 3. White radish. In many families, white radish is considered a cleansing food that feels light and aids digestion, whether steamed, boiled, or used in soups. White radish often appears in elderly people's dinners because of its mild sweetness and detoxifying nature. However, few people know that the biological properties of white radish can actually affect the brain's blood vessels if eaten in the evening, especially for those dealing with blood pressure issues or poor cerebral circulation. The main reason lies in the natural nitrate content found in white radish, which ranges from about 20 to 40 milligrams per 100 grams, once inside the body. Nitrate is converted into nitric oxide, a substance that dilates blood vessels and lowers blood pressure. For younger people, this can be beneficial, but in older adults, whose blood pressure may already be unstable and whose blood vessels have begun to degenerate, sudden vessel dilation at night can cause a mild drop in blood pressure. The body may then respond with a rebound spike in blood pressure in the early morning. This swing in pressure puts stress on the small blood vessels in the brain, increasing the likelihood of spasms or tiny clots forming. One case I will never forget is that of Mrs. Geraldine Hunt, age 82, who lives in New Jersey, very health conscious. She often had rice with boiled radish and steamed fish every evening. After a few months, she began to experience mild symptoms such as dizziness upon waking, temporary disorientation, and frequent forgetfulness of small daily tasks. When her family took her in for a medical checkup, doctors found signs of mild cerebral vasospasm and abnormal blood pressure fluctuations between nighttime and early morning. Experts suspected that eating white radish in the evening had triggered an irregular cycle of vessel dilation and constriction, causing the brain to receive insufficient blood flow at critical times such as during deep sleep or shortly after waking. A 2020 study by Tufts University also pointed out that in older adults, nitrates from food can lead to blood pressure fluctuations if consumed at the wrong time, especially at night. After the age of 65, the body gradually loses its ability to balance blood pressure, and its response to vessel dilation becomes slower, increasing the risk of disrupted blood flow to the brain. The advice here is if you enjoy eating white radish, try to have it at lunch or in the early afternoon. Avoid consuming it together with blood pressure medications or diuretics, and absolutely do not eat pickled radish in the evening, as its high salt content makes blood pressure even harder to control. Vegetables. Number 4. Broccoli. Broccoli has long been praised as the king of vegetables due to its antioxidant power, immune-boosting effects, and support for heart health. For many older adults, this vegetable regularly appears in weekly meal plans, especially when seeking light and easily digestible meals. However, few people realize that broccoli contains a high amount of vitamin K, and when combined with certain blood-thinning medications, it can interfere with the body's blood clotting mechanism and silently increase the risk of hemorrhagic stroke. According to the United States Department of Agriculture (USDA), 100 grams of broccoli contains up to 110 micrograms of vitamin K, which is twice the daily requirement for an adult. Vitamin K is essential for proper blood clotting, but if you are taking anticoagulants such as warfarin, aspirin, or clopidogrel, eating broccoli irregularly or in large amounts may reduce the effectiveness of the medication. This can cause the blood to become either too thin or too thick without showing any clear symptoms. The case of Mrs. Clara Newton, age 84, who lives in Ohio, offers a meaningful lesson. Very meticulous about her diet, she steamed vegetables every evening, especially broccoli. She was also prescribed blood thinners after experiencing a mild heart attack, believing that eating vegetables would support her heart and help prevent complications. She continued this routine. However, one afternoon, she suddenly experienced a headache, slowed speech, and fatigue. She then had a minor fall in the kitchen and was rushed to the hospital. The diagnosis was a mild brain hemorrhage, caused by imbalance of blood clotting due to the interaction between dietary vitamin K and the anticoagulant medication. According to a 2021 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, fluctuations in vitamin K intake are one of the leading reasons blood thinners lose their effectiveness in older adults. The consequences often do not appear immediately, but rather accumulate quietly and erupt in an unexpected moment. You do not need to eliminate broccoli from your diet, but it is best to eat it in a consistent amount, ideally 2 to 3 times per week, at lunch or in the morning, and if you are taking anticoagulant medications. You should inform your doctor about your diet so you can receive more tailored advice. Vegetables. Number 5. Romaine lettuce. Romaine lettuce is a common part of healthy meals, especially for those looking to lose weight, control blood sugar, or enjoy a light dinner. However, for people over the age of 60, eating romaine lettuce at night may silently lead to mild nighttime dehydration, which thickens the blood and increases the risk of small clots forming in the brain's blood vessels. Romaine lettuce contains a very high water content, up to 95%, and has a mild natural diuretic effect. For younger individuals, this helps cool the body and supports digestion, but in older adults, the body's ability to regulate fluids begins to decline. The sense of thirst becomes less clear, and the kidneys no longer function as efficiently. When eating the salad in the evening, especially without drinking enough water, the body can easily become slightly dehydrated during sleep. As a result, the blood becomes thicker, flow slows down, and if you have heart disease, atrial fibrillation, or are taking diuretics, the risk of tiny blood clots forming in the brain increases significantly. Mr. Leon Carter, age 75, who lives in California, is someone who takes healthy living very seriously. Every evening, he ate romaine salad with vinegar and a few slices of tomato instead of rice to help manage his weight. He was also taking blood pressure medication and diuretics as prescribed by his doctor. After several months, he began to feel lightheaded in the early morning, experienced mild confusion, and even had trouble grasping objects with his right hand. After medical tests and an MRI, doctors confirmed a minor stroke caused by microthrombi, largely due to nighttime dehydration that thickened the blood and reduced circulation in the brain's small vessels. According to a 2022 study by McMaster University, Canada, mild dehydration in older adults is a commonly overlooked factor, but significantly contributes to clot formation, especially at night when heart rate and blood pressure naturally decrease. You do not need to stop eating salad, but try to have it at lunchtime instead of dinner, and always remember to stay hydrated throughout the day, especially before going to bed. For older adults, even a small amount of dehydration can make a big difference in circulatory health and brain function. Vegetables number 6, raw garlic. In both culinary traditions and folk medicine, garlic has long been considered a natural antibiotic with anti-inflammatory properties, cholesterol-lowering effects, and cardiovascular support. Many older adults maintain the habit of eating 1 clove of raw garlic each day to prevent illness. However, few people are aware that garlic, especially raw garlic or in concentrated extract form, can thin the blood excessively if used incorrectly, particularly when combined with anticoagulants or aspirin. This may increase the risk of silent brain bleeding. The main active compound in garlic is allicin, a sulfur-containing substance that prevents platelets from clumping together, helping to reduce clot formation. Garlic also contains ajoane, another compound that inhibits blood coagulation. For healthy individuals, this effect can be beneficial, but for those being treated for heart disease, cerebrovascular disorders, or who have a history of stroke, the combination of garlic and anticoagulants can make the blood too thin, raising the risk of internal bleeding, especially in the brain's small blood vessels. The case of Mr. Thomas Reeves, age 81, who lives in Missouri, is a typical example. After a minor heart procedure, he was prescribed a low daily dose of the blood thinner warfarin. However, he also read online about the benefits of raw garlic and began taking 600 milligrams of garlic extract each morning, along with 1 raw clove each night without informing his doctor. 3 weeks later, he began experiencing a dull headache, fatigue, light sensitivity, and nausea, followed by sudden slurred speech and disorientation. At the hospital, brain imaging revealed a mild hemorrhage in a small blood vessel in the frontal region, with the cause identified as excessively thin blood due to the combined effects of the medication and garlic. According to an article published in the Journal of Geriatric Cardiology in 2019, garlic can strongly interact with anticoagulant medications, and at high doses, such as with capsules or continuous raw garlic use, the risk of brain bleeding increases significantly, especially in older adults with fragile blood vessels and weakened vessel walls. Garlic is not harmful, but it must be used properly, in the right dose, and under the right circumstances. If you are taking blood thinners, aspirin, or have a history of stroke, consult your doctor before using raw garlic or garlic extract supplements. For older adults, cooking garlic as part of daily meals, in moderate amounts, is a much safer choice. You and I have just reviewed 6 familiar vegetables that may silently affect vascular and brain health after the age of 60, from celery causing nighttime blood pressure drops, bitter melon lowering blood sugar too much during sleep, to broccoli with high levels of vitamin K, disrupting blood clotting when combined with medication, and raw garlic thinning the blood excessively. Each of these foods has its own benefits, but if eaten at the wrong time, in the wrong way, or without considering interactions with medications, they can become hidden stroke risks you may never suspect. I am not sharing this to make you afraid of vegetables, but to help you understand that your body after 60 needs to be treated differently than before. By changing just one small habit, such as moving your favorite vegetable to lunchtime, staying well hydrated in the evening, or cooking instead of eating raw, you can help your blood flow more easily, prevent thickened blood during sleep, and significantly reduce your risk of silent stroke. Staying healthy in old age does not require grand actions, just paying a little more attention to familiar foods, listening to your body each day, and knowing when to make adjustments means you are already one step ahead of illness. If you found today's content helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with loved ones and friends who are entering their senior years. We will continue to bring you clear, practical, and trustworthy information on nutrition, herbal remedies, and lifestyle tips to help older adults live longer and healthier lives. Are you currently eating any of the vegetables mentioned today? Leave a comment below. I read every single one, and I truly look forward to hearing your story. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. Wishing you health and clarity every single day.